I was fixing a carburetor when my son walked into the GA rage and told me his fiancée had been sleeping with the best man. That's how this whole thing sta root. Not with a scream in a church. Not with a white dress and a 3-tier cake. It sta root with a confession on a Tuesday afternoon, when the sun was too bright and the air smelled like gasoline and my hands were covered in grease. Ben stood in the doorway of the GA rage, and I knew something was wrong before he even opened his mouth. His face was the color of old milk. His hands were shaking. He looked like a man who'd just seen his own ghost. "Dad," he said. "I need to tell you something." I put down my wrench. "What happened, Miranda?" She's been seeing someone else." I waited. I knew there was more. There was always more. To who? I asked. That he swallowed. Harrowed. Chris. The name hit me like a punch to the gut. Chris. The best man. The one who'd given that tearful toast at the rehearsal dinner. The one who'd been Ben's best friend since high school. The one I'd watched grow up, taught to drive stick shift, called son more times than I could count. "Are you sure?" I asked. "I saw the texts," Ben said. "On her phone. She left it open on the counter. I wasn't looking for anything. I just wanted to check the time. And then I saw it. Their messages. Hundreds of them. Going back 6 months. 6 months. That meant they'd been ring on while Ben was picking out engagement rings. While he was planning the wedding. While he was standing at the altar sta ring at her with those trusting eyes. "What did she say?" I asked. "When you confronted her," she laughed, "Dad. She actually laughed. She said she didn't love me anymore. She said she was just waiting for the right time to tell me. That the wedding was supposed to be her way of letting me down easy." I felt something hot and black rise up in my chest. Where is she now? At home. The APA it meant. She said she's packing her stuff. She said she'll be gone by tonight. "No," I said. "She won't." Ben looked at me, confused. "Dad, I'm not letting her do this. Not like this. She doesn't get to humiliate you and then walk away like it's nothing." "What are you going to do?" I stood up. "I'm going to talk to Chris." "Dad, no. Please. Don't make this worse." "I'm not making anything worse. I'm going to find out what kind of man he really is. And then I'm going to decide what happens next." I drove to Chris's apartment with my knuckles white on the steering wheel. I didn't call ahead. I didn't warn him. I just showed up at his door and knocked. When he opened it, he knew right away why I was there. The guilt was written all over his face. "Mr. C," he said. "I can explain." "No," I said. "You can't. You can't explain why you stabbed my son in the back. You can't explain why you destroyed his trust. You can't explain why you threw away a friendship of 10 years for a woman who doesn't care about anyone except herself. Mr. C, I know I messed up. I know I made a terrible mistake. I never meant to hurt Ben." "Then why did you?" He didn't answer. He just stood there in his doorway, looking like a kicked dog. And for a moment, I almost felt sorry for him. "Almost. Listen to me," I said. "There's going to be a wedding. That's still happening. Miranda doesn't know it yet, but there's going to be a wedding. And you're going to be there. What? You're going to be there, and you're going to be the best man. Just like you were supposed to be. Because that's what we're going to do. We're going to let her walk down the aisle. We're going to let her say her vows. And then we're going to leave." "Leave? What do you mean?" I smiled. It wasn't a nice smile. "We're going to walk out. Every single one of you. The groomsmen. Me. Ben. We're going to walk out of that church and let her stand there alone. Let her feel what it's like to be humiliated in front of everyone she knows." Chris sta read at me like I was insane. Mr. C, that's crazy. Crazy is sleeping with your best friend's fiancé for 6 months. Crazy is standing next to him at the altar while he says his vows, knowing you've already broken them. What I'm proposing is justice. And I'm going to need your help to pull it off. He was quiet for a long time. Then he nodded. Okay. I'll do it. But I'm not doing it for you. I'm doing it for Ben. Good. Then we're on the same page. I called the other groomsmen that night. All 6 of them. I told them what had happened. I told them about the plan. Every single one of them agreed to help without hesitation. They were furious. Not at me, but at themselves. They felt like they should have seen it coming. They felt like they'd failed Ben. That you haven't failed him, I told them. You're about to prove to him that you're his real family. And you're going to do it by walking out the door together. The wedding was 3 weeks away. 21 days to prep 21 days to keep the secret. 21 days to watch my son walk through the motions of planning a life with a woman who'd already betrayed him. That I won't lie. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. Every night, I sat across from Ben at dinner and watched him smile at Miranda, watched him kiss her forehead, watched him talk about their future like it was still real. And every night, I wanted to break down and tell him the truth. But I didn't. Because I knew the truth would hurt him more than any lie. And I knew that the only way to make it right was to finish what I'd root. The day of the wedding arrived. It was hot. Unbearably hot. The kind of day where you can feel the sweat trickling down your back before you even step outside. That I put on my suit and drove to the church. The groomsmen were already there, standing in a line, looking like soldiers going to war. Chris was at the end. He wouldn't meet my eyes. Is everything ready? I asked. We're ready, Mr. C. Good. Then let's do this. The ceremony root. The pastor talked about love. About commitment. About the sanctity of marriage. I tuned him out. My eyes were on the doors at the back of the church. The music root. The bridesmaids walked down the aisle. Then Miranda. She looked beautiful. I'll give her that. Her dress was pure white, her veil cascading down her back like a waterfall. Her smile was radiant. She looked like a woman who had everything she ever wanted. She had no idea what was coming. She reached the altar. The pastor asked who gave this woman to be married. Her father stepped forward and said, her mother and I. His voice cracked. He was crying. He had no idea what his daughter had done. Then came the vows. Ben went first. He spoke from the heart. He said he'd love her forever. He said he'd protect her, provide for her, cherish her until the end of time. He meant every word. Even though she didn't deserve them. Miranda root her vows. She was halfway through when I gave the signal. A small nod to Chris. He stepped forward. Miranda, he said. I need to tell you something. She looked at him, confused. Chris, not now. We're in the middle of the ceremony. I know, he said. But I can't let you do this. Not after what you did to Ben. Her face went white. What are you talking about? I'm talking about us. About the last 6 months. About the texts. About the nights you told me you were going to leave him. About the wedding, when you said you'd be looking at me the whole time. The church exploded into chaos. Gasps. Whispering. Miranda's mother root screaming. Her father looked like he'd been hit by a truck. And Ben stood there like a man who'd just been told he was living in a nightmare. Chris, Ben said. What are you saying? I'm saying she's been cheating on you. With me. For 6 months. The silence that followed was unbearable. It was the sound of a world falling apart. Ben turned to Miranda. Is this true? She didn't answer. She didn't deny it. She just stood there with her mouth open, like a fish gasping for air. Answer me. Ben shouted. Is it true? Yes, she whispered. But I can explain. No, Ben said. No explanations. No apologies. No more lies. He looked at me. His eyes were wild, hurt, betrayed. But underneath all that, there was something else. Something I hadn't expected. Relief. Dad, he said. Let's get out of here. I nodded. You sure? I'm sure. We walked down the aisle. The groomsmen followed. Every single one of them. They left their positions, their bouquets, their ties, their duty. They walked out with us. Miranda screamed behind us. Get out. Get out. Get out. Ben, don't walk away from me. Don't you dare walk away from me. But we didn't stop. We walked out into the daylight. The sun was blinding, but it felt good. It felt like being reborn. That I put my hand on Ben's shoulder. You okay? I will be, he said. I will be. We got in the truck. All 6 groomsmen piled into the back. And we drove off, leaving the church and the flowers and the screaming woman behind. That's how I left my son's wedding. With him in the passenger seat, his friends in the back, and a future full of questions and pain. But also hope. Because for the first time in years, we were together. And as long as we had each other, we could survive anything. That I didn't know where we were going. I didn't know what came next. But I knew one thing for sure, the wedding was over. And we had won. The first thing Ben did when we got to O'Malley's was order a whiskey. Not a beer. A whiskey. Neat. The kind of drink a man orders when he's trying to forget something. That I didn't stop him. Sometimes a man needs to forget that we sat in the back corner, the same booth we'd claimed as our own over the past few months. The groomsmen were scattered around the table, nursing their beers, not saying much. The silence was heavy. It was the silence of men who'd just done something they couldn't take back. Frank, the bartender, came over and set down another round without being asked. He'd been in this business long enough to know when a group of men needed to drink. On the house, he said. First round's free for the wedding party. That didn't happen. Chris cracked a smile at that. It was weak, but it was something. Ben read at his whiskey. He didn't drink it. He just read at it like it held all the answers he was looking for. Dad, he finally said. How long did you know? I took a long pull of my beer. About 3 weeks. Chris told me. Ben turned to Chris. His face was unreadable. Not angry. Not sad. Just empty. You told him before you told me. Chris shifted in his seat. I didn't know how to tell you. I didn't know if I ever would have told you. Mr. C gave me the push I needed. You couldn't have pushed yourself. I was a coward, Ben. I've been a coward my whole life. It took your father showing up at my door and looking me in the eyes to make me realize what I'd done. I'm not proud of it. Ben was quiet for a long time. Then he did something that surprised everyone. He laughed. You know what the worst part is, he said. I'm not even that angry. I should be angry. I should be furious. I should want to punch you in the face. But all I feel is tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of trying so hard. Tired of loving someone who was never going to love me back. I put my hand on his shoulder. That's not a bad thing, son. That's growth. Growth, he repeated. That's what they call it when you get your heart ripped out and stomped on. I call it surviving. And you did. You walked out of that church on your own 2 feet. That's more than most people can say. Ben finally picked up the whiskey. He knocked it back in one swallow. Then he set the glass down and looked at the groomsmen. All right, he said. I need to hear it. Every single one of you. Why did you walk out? The silence stretched. Then Chris spoke up. Because you're my best friend, he said. I know I betrayed you. I know I don't deserve to call myself that. But you're still my best friend. And when I saw you standing there, looking so broken, I realized that Miranda wasn't the only one who needed to be held accountable. I did too. And the only way to make things right was to stand with you. Even if it meant humiliating myself in front of everyone. The other groomsmen nodded. One of them, a guy named Derek, spoke up. I walked out because I saw your face, he said. When Miranda sta root screaming. I saw your face, and I remembered the day we met. Freshman year. You were sitting alone in the cafeteria, and I just sat down next to you. You looked at me like you'd never had a friend before. And I thought, this is a good guy. This is someone I want to know. And I've been proving that to myself every day since. Ben's eyes got wet. He blinked hard, trying to hold it back. You guys, we're not done, Chris said. We've been talking about this. All of us. We're not going anywhere, Ben. Miranda's out. But we're in. For good. Ben couldn't speak. He just nodded, his jaw tight. That I watched the whole thing and felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Pride. Not pride in myself. Pride in him. In the men he'd surrounded himself with. In the family he'd built without even realizing it. All right, I said. That's enough sentimentality. We've got work to do. Work, Ben said. What kind of work? First, we need to get your stuff from the apartment. You're not going back there. You're coming home with me until you figure things out. Dad, I can't. You can, and you will. That's not a suggestion. Ben looked like he wanted to argue. Then he nodded. Okay. But I'm not going alone. You won't. We're all going. We piled back into the truck and drove to the apartment. It was a small place downtown, something Miranda had picked out because it was chic. I'd always hated it. It was too small, too sterile, too much like the woman who'd chosen it. When we got there, the door was unlocked. That was the first sign something was wrong. That I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The place was trashed. Clothes everywhere. Broken glass on the floor. Drawers pulled out and dumped. It looked like a tornado had blown through. What the hell? Ben said. That I held up my hand. Stay behind me. I moved through the apartment slowly, checking each room. The living room was a disaster. The kitchen was worse. Then I got to the bedroom. Miranda was sitting on the bed. She was still in her wedding dress. Her veil was gone. Her hair was a mess. Her makeup was ruined. She looked like she hadn't moved in hours. What are you doing here? I asked. She looked up at me. Her eyes were red and puffy. I had nowhere else to go. My father won't talk to me. My mother won't look at me. Everyone hates me. You don't say. I've been sitting here for hours, thinking about what I did. I ruined everything. I ruined my wedding. I ruined my relationships. I ruined my life. Ben pushed past me. He stood in the doorway, looking at her. For a moment, I thought he was going to break down. I thought he was going to run to her and try to fix things. But he didn't. Miranda, he said. You need to leave. Ben, please. I know I made a mistake. I know I hurt you. But I can change. I can be better. Just give me another chance. No. There are no more chances. You had your chance. You had it when you said yes to my proposal. You had it when I planned the wedding. You had it when you chose him instead of me. And you blew it. Every single time. Ben, I love you. I've always loved you. No, he said. You loved what I could give you. The attention. The security. The safety net. But you didn't love me. You never did. Miranda sta root crying. Ugly crying. The kind of crying that made you want to look away. Ben turned to me. Dad, I need to go. I can't be here. I nodded. I'll take care of this. He walked out of the room. The groomsmen were waiting in the living room. They looked at him, and without a word, they surrounded him. Chris put his arm around Ben's shoulder and led him outside. That I stayed behind. I looked at Miranda, sitting there in her ruined dress on the bed sheet. Read with my son. Listen to me, I said. You're going to pack your things. You're going to leave. And you're not going to contact Ben again. Not a phone call. Not a text. Not a letter. You're going to stay out of his life for good. Do you understand? She nodded, still crying. That I don't believe you, I said. But I'm going to give you one chance to prove me wrong. If you contact him, if you try to weasel your way back into his life, I will make your life a living hell. And I'm not talking about legal action. I'm talking about the kind of consequences that follow you for the rest of your life. She looked up at me, and for the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes. You wouldn't. Try me. I walked out of the apartment and didn't look back. Outside, Ben was standing with the groomsmen. He was laughing. Actually laughing. It was a small, broken sound, but it was real. What's so funny? I asked. Chris just told me about the time he tried to ask out that waitress and she threw a drink in his face, Ben said. He said it was the most embarrassing moment of his life. I told him he had nothing to worry about. I just had the most embarrassing moment of my life, and I survived. Chris laughed. Yeah, but at least you didn't get soaked in cheap gin. Cheap gin, Ben said. That's the worst part of the story. We all laughed. It was stupid. It was ridiculous. But it was good. That night, Ben moved back into my house. We put him in the guest room, the one that used to be his childhood room. I stood in the doorway and watched him unpack his bag. This is weird, he said. Coming back here. Not weird, I said. It's where you belong. But I'm not a kid anymore. No, you're not. But you're still my son. And this is still your home. It always will be. He didn't say anything. He just nodded and kept unpacking. I went to the living room and poured myself a whiskey. The same kind he'd had at O'Malley's. I didn't drink it. I just held it and thought about everything that had happened. The wedding was over. Miranda was out. Ben was home. The groomsmen were still around. But something was nagging at me. Something I couldn't quite put my finger on. I kept thinking about Miranda. About the way she'd looked at me in that apartment. The fear in her eyes. I'd threatened her. I'd made her promise to stay away. But I knew that wasn't the end of it. She was the kind of woman who didn't take no for an answer. And she'd just lost everything. That's when I realized the wedding was over, but the war was just beginning. The first week Ben was back home, I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. It didn't. He got up every morning, made coffee, went to work, came home, ate dinner, and went to bed. He was a ghost moving through my house, going through the motions of living without actually being alive. That changed on the 8th day. It was a Friday night. The groomsmen were over for our weekly count. We were standing around the grill, flipping burgers and drinking beer, when Ben's phone buzzed on the picnic table. He looked at it. His face went pale. It's her, he said. She sent me a text. I took the phone from his hand. The screen read, I know what you did. I know it was your father's idea. He's going to pay for this. What does she mean? Chris asked. What are you going to pay for? I handed the phone back to Ben. She's trying to rattle us. Don't let her get in your head. But I was rattled. I'd been rattled since the night I'd threatened her in that apartment. Something about the way she'd looked at me. The fear are in her eyes. It wasn't the fear are of a woman who'd just been humiliated. It was the fear are of a woman who had nothing to lose and everything to prove. You need to block her, I said. Right now. Ben nodded and sta root fumbling with his phone. His hands were shaking. I'm trying. She keeps finding ways around it. She's using different numbers. Different apps. I don't know how she's doing it. Give me your phone. He handed it over. I scrolled through the messages. There were dozens of them. Most of them were pleading. Apologetic. But a few were threatening. One said, I have pictures. You don't want to see them. Another said, your father sta root this. I'm going to finish it. I deleted them all. Then I blocked every number she'd used. Then I took the phone and smashed it against the picnic table. Dad. You need a new phone, I said. New number. New everything. She's not going to stop until we force her to stop. That's crazy, Chris said. She's not going to actually do anything. She's just trying to SCA-re you. Maybe, I said. Maybe not. But I'm not taking that chance. The next day, I went to the HardTruth store. I bought new locks for every door in the house. Motion sensor lights for the road. A security camera for the front porch. I spent the afternoon installing everything myself. The physical labor felt good. It kept my hands busy and my mind off the knot that had formed in my gut. Ben watched me from the porch. Dad, don't you think this is a little excessive? If she shows up in the middle of the night, you're going to thank me. She's not going to show up. I didn't answer. I just kept working. 3 days later, I found out I was right that it was 2 in the morning. I was in bed, half asleep, when I heard a noise outside. It was faint. The kind of sound that could have been a raccoon or a stray cat. But something about it made me sit up. I got out of bed and went to the window. The RD was dark. The motion sensor lights hadn't gone off. But I could see something moving near the GA rage. A shadow. Too big to be an animal. I grabbed my shotgun from the closet. I keep it unloaded, with the shells in a separate box. I loaded it quietly, moved through the house, and opened the back door. The night air was cold. I stepped onto the porch and scanned the road. The shadow was gone. For a moment, I thought I'd imagined it. Then I saw the GA rage door. It was open. I'd locked it. I knew I'd locked it. I double-checked before going to bed. I moved across the RD, keeping low, my finger on the trigger. The GA rage was dark. I pushed the door open with my foot and reached for the light switch. When the lights came on, I saw the damage. The Mustang was covered in red paint. Not just splattered. It was dumped all over the hood, the windshield, the roof. The words LIAR and thief were spray-painted across the sides. The tires were slashed. The engine had been torn. APART wires were hanging out of the hood, cut and frayed. I stood there, frozen. That CAR was the only thing I had left from my marriage. It was the only thing that connected me to a life I'd once had. And now it was ruined. I heard a sound behind me and spun around. Ben was standing in the doorway, his face white. Dad, he said. What happened? Your fiancée happened. He walked closer, sta ring at the destruction. I can't believe she did this. I can't believe she's capable of this. She's capable of anything. That's what I've been trying to tell you. But why destroy your CAR? What does she gain from that? It's not about gaining something. It's about hurting someone. She can't hurt you anymore, so she's coming after me. She thinks that's the way to get to you. Ben's hands were shaking. I'm going to call the police. No. Not yet. What do you mean she vandalized your property? She committed a crime. I looked at him. She wants us to react. She wants us to call the police and press charges. That's a win for her. It means we're SCA red. It means we're giving her the attention she wants. So what do? We fix the CAR. We move on. And we don't give her the satisfaction of knowing she got to us. The next day, I called Chris and the other groomsmen. We spent the entire weekend in the GA rage, stripping the paint, replacing the tires, fixing the engine. It cost me $3,000 RS and a lot of sweat. But by Sunday night, the Mustang was back to its old self. Ben helped the whole time. He didn't complain. He didn't stop to take breaks. He just worked, silent and focused. That I said, wiping grease off my hands. This is the most time I've spent with you since you were a kid. It's almost worth it. He cracked a smile. You always did know how to find the silver lining. I've had a lot of practice. We were sitting on the porch that night, drinking beer and looking at the stars. The groomsmen had gone home. It was just the two of us. Dad, Ben said. I need to ask you something. Go ahead. Did you know about Chris before he told you? I was quiet for a moment. No. I didn't. I suspected something was wrong. Miranda always had this look. Like she was hiding something. But I didn't know what it was. So you didn't plan the whole thing, the walkout, the groomsmen leaving? I planned the walkout, I said. I planned to get you out of that church. But I didn't plan Chris's confession. That was his idea. He wanted to come clean. He wanted to make things right. Ben was quiet for a long time. I don't know if I can forgive him. You don't have to. Not right now. Maybe not ever. But you need to understand something. Chris made a terrible mistake. But he also made a choice. When it mattered most, he chose you. He chose to stand with you. That has to count for something. Does it? I'm not sure. It counts, son. It counts a lot. Ben looked at me. What about Miranda? What happens when she comes back? Because she will come back. I know her. She won't stop until she destroys us. Let her come, I said. We'll be ready. But I wasn't as confident as I sounded. Because I knew Miranda. I'd known her from the moment I met her. And I knew she wasn't going to stop until she'd gotten exactly what she wanted. I just didn't know what that was yet. The next week was quiet. Too quiet. No texts. No calls. No mysterious shadows in the road. Ben sta route to relax. He sta route to smile again. He even sta route to talk about the future. Nothing specific. Just a sense of hope I hadn't seen in him in months. It was a Wednesday afternoon when everything changed. I was at work, running the GA rage, when my phone rang. It was Ben. His voice was shaking. Dad, he said. She's here. We're at the house. No. At my work. She showed up at my office. She's been waiting in the lobby for 2 hours. She won't leave. Security tried to escort her out, but she made a scene. She's screaming about how I ruined her life. About how you threatened her. About how we're all against her. Son, stay where you are. I'm coming. No, Dad. Don't come. I need to handle this myself. Ben, you don't. This is my battle. Not yours. I need to do this alone. I hung up the phone and sta read at the wall. Every instinct I had was telling me to get in my truck and drive to his office. To protect him. To make sure Miranda didn't do something stupid. But I'd raised him to be a man. And a man fights his own battles. So I waited. The call came 3 hours later. Ben's voice was calm. Steady. It's done, he said. What happened? I talked to her. For a long time. She was crying. Screaming. Accusing me of all sorts of things. I let her get it all out. Then I told her the truth. The truth. I told her that I never loved her. Not really. I loved the idea of her. The idea of being married. The idea of having a family. But I didn't love her. And I realized it a long time ago. I was just too scared to admit it. There was a pause. What did she say? She said she was going to make us pay. That she wasn't done with us. But I could tell she was scared. Because she knew I meant what I said. And she knew there was nothing she could do to change it. I'm proud of you, son. Thanks, Dad. But this isn't over. I know it's not over. She's going to come back. She's going to try something else. And when she does, I need you to know something. What's that? I'm not the same person I was at the wedding. I'm stronger now. And I'm not afraid of her anymore. She can't hurt me. She can't hurt us. Not anymore. I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Good. Then let's get ready. Because the war's not over. But we're going to win. I hung up the phone and smiled. He was right. The war wasn't over. But for the first time in months, I knew we were going to win. The war came to my doorstep on a Sunday morning that I was making coffee when I heard a car pull into the driveway. Not Ben's car. Not the groomsmen cars, something else. Something that sounded expensive and foreign. That I walked to the window and pulled back the curtain. There was a black SUV in the driveway. The kind you see in movies, with tinted windows so dark you couldn't see inside. The kind that meant trouble. The driver got out first. A big man in a suit that didn't fit him right. He opened the back door, and a woman stepped out. Not Miranda. An older woman. Dressed in designer clothes, PRLS around her neck, a handbag that cost more than my first car. She walked to my front door and knocked. She didn't hesitate. She didn't look around. She just knocked, like she owned the place. That I opened the door and stood there, arms crossed. Can I help you, Mr. C.A. Reuter? She said. I'm Vivian Roth. Miranda's mother. I'd never met her in person. She'd never shown up to any of the family events, never answered my calls, never even sent a CA road. She was a ghost in the background of Miranda's life, floating just out of sight. That I know who you are, I said. What do you want? May I come in? No. She didn't seem surprised. She just nodded. I understand. I wouldn't let me in either. Then why are you here? I need to talk to you about my daughter. About what happened at the wedding. About what's happening now. The wedding's over. Your daughter made her choice. I know. And I've been trying to deal with the consequences ever since. But I need you to understand something. Miranda is not well. She's never been well. And I should have done something about it a long time ago. But I didn't. I was too focused on appearances. On what people would think. And now my daughter is spiraling out of control. I studied her face. She looked tired. The kind of tired that comes from years of pretending everything was fine. Her eyes were red-rimmed, her makeup a little too thick, her smile a little too forced. What do you want me to do about it? I'm asking you to help me get her help. She's been threatening you and your son. I know that. She's been harassing you. Vandalizing your property. She's out of control. And if she keeps going like this, she's going to end up in prison. Or worse. She's an adult, I said. She made her own choices. I know. And I'm not asking you to forgive her. I'm asking you to help me protect her from herself. I wanted to say no. I wanted to tell her that her daughter was not my problem and never would be. But something in Vivian's eyes stopped me. It was the look of a mother who'd failed her child and knew it. Come in, I said. That she stepped inside and looked around. Her eyes scanned the living room, the kitchen, the staircase. I could tell she was judging it, comparing it to what she was used to. But she was smart enough not to say anything. That sit, I said. That she sat down on my old couch, her back ramrod straight. I sat across from her in my worn iron chair. Tell me everything, I said. Don't leave anything out. She took a breath. Miranda's father left when she was 6. He was a businessman. Always traveling. Never home. He had affairs. He didn't try to hide them. Miranda saw things she shouldn't have seen. He rode things she shouldn't have. He rode. I don't see a about her father. You should. Because he's the reason she is the way she is. He taught her that love is a transaction. That you use people to get what you want. That showing vulnerability is a weakness. I kept my face still. And I was complicit. I looked the other way. I thought I was protecting her. But I was just teaching her that it was okay to treat people badly. That appearances mattered more than anything. Where are you going with this? I'm telling you that Miranda is broken. Not in a way that can be fixed with an apology or a second chance. Broken in a way that needs professional help. Therapy. Medication. Maybe even hospitalization. Then why aren't you doing something about it? Because she won't listen to me. I'm her mother. I'm the enemy. But she listens to you. She respects you. Even though she hates you, she respects you. And I think if you told her to get help, she might actually do it. I almost laughed. You want me to help the woman who destroyed my son's life, the woman who vandalized my car, the woman who's been harassing us for months? Yes, Vivian said. I do. Because I think you're a good man, Mr. Reuter. I think you're the kind of man who does the right thing, even when it's hard. And helping Miranda is the right thing. Not because she deserves it. But because it's the only way to end this. I sat there for a long time. I thought about Ben. I thought about the groomsmen. I thought about the Mustang and the paint and the cut wires. I thought about all the ways Miranda had tried to destroy us. Then I thought about Vivian's face. The exhaustion. The desperation. The love that was still there, buried under years of denial. I'll think about it, I said. That's all I'm promising. That's all I'm asking. She left. The black SUV pulled out of the driveway and disappeared around the corner. I sat on the porch for an hour, ring at the road. That night, I told Ben about the visit. That her mother came to see you, he said. What did she want? She wanted us to help Miranda get help. Help her after everything she's done. I know. It sounds insane. But the mother's desperate. She thinks Miranda is going to do something stupid. Something that ends badly. Ben was silent for a long time. What are you going to do? I don't know yet. What do you think I should do? He shook his head. I don't know either. Part of me wants to say forget about her. Let her deal with her own problems. But another part of me. He stopped. Another part of me thinks you might be right. That helping her might be the only way to get her to stop. So you think I should do it? I think you should do what you think is right. That's always been your way. I nodded. I'll think about it. 3 days later, Miranda called me. Not Ben. Me. I'd never given her my number, but she'd found it somehow. She'd been keeping tabs on all of us. Mr. Reuter, she said. I know my mother came to see you. Yes, she did. I need you to know that I don't want her help. I don't want anyone's help. I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine. You don't sound fine. I don't see what I sound like. I just want you to stay out of my life. Both of you. I'm done with you. I'm done with Ben. I'm done with all of it. That's not what your mother told me. Because my mother doesn't know anything. She never knew anything. She spent my whole life pretending she was the perfect mother, but she was just as broken as I was. I'm not going to listen to her. And I'm not going to listen to you. Miranda, listen to yourself. You vandalized my property. You've been harassing my son. You've been threatening us. If you don't get help, you're going to end up in prison. Then I'll end up in prison. It doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters anymore. She hung up. That I read at the phone for a long time. Then I called Ben. That she just called me, I said. She's not well. She's getting worse. What did she say? She said nothing matters anymore. Like she's given up. That's not good. No. It's not. What are you going to do? I'm going to see her. Dad, no. That's a terrible idea. I know. But someone has to help her. And I'm the only one who can. I drove to Miranda's apartment that night. I'd never been there before. It was a high-end building downtown, the kind with a doorman and a valet. I left my truck with the valet and rode the elevator to the 15th floor. The door was unlocked. I pushed it open and stepped inside. Miranda was sitting on the floor in the middle of the living room. She was in her pajamas. Her hair was unwashed. Her eyes were hollow. Mr. Reuter, she said. I knew you'd come. What are you doing? I'm waiting. For something to happen. For someone to save me. I don't know. Miranda, you need help. I know. Will you let me help you? She looked at me. Her eyes were wet. Why would you help me after everything I did? Because I don't want to see you destroy yourself. That's not who I am. I'm not going to let you throw your life away. She root to cry. Ugly crying. The kind of crying that comes from a place so deep you don't know how to get out of it. Mr. Reuter, she said. I don't know how to stop. I'll help you, I said. But you have to let me. You have to want it. I want it. I just don't know how. I sat down on the floor next to her. I didn't say anything. I just sat there, letting her cry. It went on for an hour. 2 hours. I didn't move. I didn't try to fix anything. I just stayed. When she finally stopped, she looked at me with tired, red-rimmed eyes. What do I do now? She asked. I said, you call your mother. You check yourself into a place that can help you. And then you start the long, hard work of fixing yourself. What if I can't? Then you keep trying. That's all anyone can do. She nodded. Okay. I'll do it. I stayed with her until she called her mother. I stayed with her until Vivian arrived with the black SUV and the driver. I stayed with her until they drove away, heading for a facility in the mountains where she could get the help she needed. Then I went home. Ben was waiting for me on the porch. What happened? She's getting help, I said. She's going to be okay. How do you know? I don't. But it's the only chance she's got. He nodded. Dad, I'm proud of you. Don't be proud of me, I said. I'm just doing what I had to do. No. You did what was right. That's not the same thing. I sat down next to him on the porch. We didn't say anything for a long time. We just watched the stars come out, one by one, until the sky was full of them. And I realized that's what it was like. The bad things faded away, and the good things stayed. The stars were still there. My son was still there. And I was still there. It was enough. The call came 6 months later. I was in the GA rage, back to my old routine, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. But something told me to pick it up. Mr. Reuter, the voice was familiar, softer than I remembered. But unmistakable. Miranda. I know you probably don't want to hear from me. I know I'm the last person you want to talk to. But I called because I wanted to tell you something. I'm listening. I got out of the facility 2 weeks ago. I've been living with my mother. Going to therapy. Taking my medication. Doing the work. I know that doesn't mean much to you. I know I've said that before. But I wanted you to hear it from me. I leaned against the workbench. How are you doing? Better. Not perfect. But better. I'm learning to understand why I did the things I did. The damage I caused. I spent my whole life thinking I was the victim. That everyone was out to get me. And I hurt a lot of people because of it. Miranda, I appreciate you calling. I really do. But I need to know why you're telling me this. Because I owe you an apology. Not just a sorry. A real one. What I did to you and Ben was unforgivable. I know that. But I need you to know that I'm trying to be better. I'm trying to be the person I should have been all along. There was a long silence. I didn't know what to say. Part of me wanted to tell her to get lost. To never call again. But another part of me, the part that had seen her on that apartment floor, broken and crying, knew she was telling the truth. I believe you, I said. And I appreciate the call. Thank you, Mr. C.A. Reuter. Thank you for not giving up on me. Even when I didn't deserve it. I didn't give up on you. I gave up on what you were doing. There's a difference. She laughed. It was a small, uncertain sound. But it was real. I know. I'm working on understanding that. I hope you do. We said goodbye. I hung up the phone and read at it for a long time. Then I called Ben. That your ex-fiancée just called me. I said that are you okay? What did she want? She wanted to apologize. She's been getting help. She's trying to turn her life around. Ben was quiet. Do you believe her? I do. I think she's finally learned something important. That you can't run away from yourself. You have to face what you've done. Dad, that's a lot of forgiveness for someone who caused so much pain. I know. But forgiveness isn't about her. It's about me. I need to forgive her so I can move on. So we can all move on. That's what the next chapter looks like. You're not going to get all philosophical on me, are you? Maybe. But we can talk about that later. Right now, I want to know how you're doing. I'm good, Dad. Really good. I've been thinking a lot about the future. About what I want. What do you want? He was quiet for a moment. I want to open my own garage. Something small. Something I can build from the ground up. I've been saving money. Working overtime. I think I'm ready. I felt a swell of pride so big it almost choked me. Son, that's the best news I've heard in a long time. Could use some help getting STA route. If you're not too busy. I'm never too busy for you. Just say when. The next few months were a blur of activity. We found a space downtown. A small garage with a repair bay and an office. It wasn't much to look at. The paint was peeling. The floor was cracked. But it had potential. The groomsmen showed up every weekend to help with renovations. Chris was there, painting walls and fixing the electrical. Derek was there, laying down new floors. The other guys rotated in and out, bringing food and beer and good spirits. That I watched them work and thought about how far we'd all come. A year ago, we were standing in a church, walking out on a wedding. Now we were building something new. Something that had nothing to do with Miranda or the pain she'd caused. Dad, Ben said, walking up to me with a paintbrush in his hand. I need to ask you something. Go ahead. Would you be my partner on the garage? I mean, officially. I know you have your own shop. But I could use your expertise. Your experience. Your name on the sign. I looked at him. He was grown. Strong. Confident. The shattered man who'd walked out of that church was gone. In his place was someone I recognized. Someone I was proud to call my son. That I'd be honored, I said. That we shook hands. It felt like a contract. Like a promise. The grand opening was on a Saturday in June. The sun was hot. The sky was clear. The parking lot was full of cars from everyone we knew. The groomsmen. The neighbors. The regular RS from my GA rage. That I stood at the door, shaking hands and greeting people. Ben was inside, showing off the new equipment. He was in his element. Smiling. Laughing. Alive. At noon, we had a small ceremony. I gave a speech. I'm not good at speeches. But I managed to get through it without crying. I want to thank everyone for coming, I said. I want to thank my son for trusting me enough to be part of this. And I want to say that no matter what happens, this GA rage is a symbol of something important. It's a symbol of second chances. Of choosing to build rather than destroy. The crowd cheered. Ben came over and shook my hand. Then he hugged me. In front of everyone. I love you, Dad, he said. I love you too, son. Just then, a car pulled into the lot. I recognized it immediately. The black SUV. Vivian Roth stepped out first. Then the back door opened, and Miranda stepped out. She looked different. Healthier. She had color in her cheeks. She was wearing a simple dress, not the designer clothes she used to favor. Her hair was pulled back in a ponytail. She looked like a different person. The crowd went quiet. Everyone was ringed. What is she doing here? Chris said, stepping forward. I held up my hand. It's okay. Let her speak. Miranda walked over to Ben. She stopped a few feet away and looked at him with clear eyes. Ben, she said. I know I'm the last person you want to see right now. And I understand if you want me to leave. I just came to apologize. One more time. And to show you that I've changed. Ben looked at me. I nodded. Go ahead, he said. Miranda took a breath. I'm sorry for everything I did to you. For the lies. For the betrayal. For the pain. I was broken, and I took it out on you. That wasn't fair. That wasn't love. That was me being a coward. But I'm not that person anymore. I'm trying to be better. And I wanted you to know that. Ben was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded. Thank you, he said. I appreciate that. You don't have to forgive me. I don't expect you to. I just wanted to say it. Miranda, Ben said. I'm not going to say I forgive you. Not today. Maybe not ever. But I will say this. I'm glad you're getting help. I'm glad you're trying. And I hope you find the peace you're looking for. TARSSTA root streaming down her face. But they weren't the old TRS. Not the fake ones. These were real. Thank you, she whispered. That means more than you know. She turned to leave. I stepped forward. Miranda, I said. Wait. She turned back. I'm proud of you. For doing the work. For facing what you've done. That takes courage. Thank you, Mr. C.A. Reuter. That really means a lot. She got back in the SUV and drove away. I watched her go, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. Ben came up beside me. You meant that, didn't you? The part about being proud of her. I did. She could have kept going down the same path. She could have destroyed herself. But she didn't. She chose to change. That's not nothing. He nodded. You're right. It's not nothing. So what happens now? Now we get back to work, he said, smiling. We have a business to run. The rest of the afternoon was a blur of handshakes and congratulations. The groomsmen stayed late, drinking beer and telling stories. Chris told the one about the waitress, and Ben laughed harder than I'd heard him laugh in a long time. At the end of the night, it was just the two of us. Ben and me. We sat on the hood of my truck, looking at the stars. I think this is the happiest I've been since I was a kid, he said. Like really, truly happy. That's good, son. That's the way it should be. What about you, Dad? Are you happy? I thought about it. I thought about all the pain and loss and here touch. The divorce. The years of silence. The wedding. The walkout. The war with Miranda. Then I thought about tonight. About the laughter. The noise. The people I love surrounding me. Yeah, I said. I think I am. He smiled and put his hand on my shoulder. Good, he said. Because you deserve it. The stars were bright overhead. The crickets were singing. And for the first time in a long time, I felt like everything was going to be okay. Not because the past was forgotten. It wasn't. But because we'd chosen to move four-way road together. As a family. The wedding was over. The war was over. And the best part of our lives was just beginning. The end.